Hi, everyone. Oh, do we get my slides up there? It's cool. I'm talking about how to handle anything. How do you handle when your slides don't show up? Hi, everyone. I'm Mary, who had fun last night. Woo! Yeah, and all the people that aren't here, right? They're still sleeping. I'm Mary, and today I'm going to share some techniques that you can use to handle anything that comes your way in life, in work, some new ways of creatively solving problems, adapting and changing circumstances, and building resilience, and ways to empower your and perhaps your team's adaptability, creativity, and trust. Who's ever felt like they're being chased by a lion or a tiger? Heart rate is high, kind of sweating, super nervous. 3 people, right? The rest of you are lying. So who's ever felt like maybe more like an elephant, where you're socially engaged, you feel safe to approach someone, you feel like friendly? Yeah, we're at Codegarden. Everyone has, right? We're at a place where people are friendly. Or if you just like freeze, right? Shout out to the local hero here in the back, Frozen. You're just like shut down. Yeah, a few, right? So these kind of represent the different states of our nervous system, right? Anyone familiar with kind of the different states of the nervous system? There's like that fight or flight, that being chased by a tiger feeling, which is the sympathetic nervous system. The ventral vagal is that elephant. That's when you're feeling safe and connected and like, oh, this is fun, I'm grateful, I'm supported. Everyone gave me a standing ovation before I even got on stage. Or that dorsal vagal is that frozen part where you just shut down, you dissociate, and you kind of stick your head in the sand. Now, when we want to be able to handle changing circumstances or difficult circumstances, it's best that we're in this ventral vagal, that kind of safe, connected space, right? So there are many techniques that we can use to kind of regulate our nervous system. One is breath work, right? People meditate to get there. Some people sit in cold tubs of water, take cold showers, or I've heard winter bathing is a thing here that can help regulate your nervous system. And I'm here to share, I think, the most fun way to regulate one's nervous system, which are some improv techniques that you can use to get in that ventral vagal state, especially when you're facing adversity or change. So why improv? Improv comedy has been written about and studied more and more and shown to be a helpful tool for leaders, teams, organizations. And I won't go through all the nerdy research about it, but there's been a lot of research that looks at how does it actually impact our physiological health and what's going on in our brain. And so my favorite here is in the upper right, the study that was done looking at people who are improvising in an MRI, what happens to their brain. And what was shown is that when you're improvising, the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, which is like the inner critic, that part of our brain that judges us and tells us not to do something, that's shown to decrease in activity. And the part of our brain responsible for creativity and language and connection, the medial prefrontal cortex, is shown to increase in activity. So these techniques actually kind of change what's activated in our brain so we can use them as a tool, again, to kind of change our thoughts, what's going on physiologically. It's also helpful for like tolerating uncertainty, psychological well-being, being able to think in diverse ways, think in new ways that helps us solve problems, decrease stress. So there's all sorts of reasons that these are helpful tools for regulating our nervous system. And last year, I conducted a study in partnership with a neuroscientist, and we found that in 6 sessions of improv, people increased feelings of creativity, connection, energy, and a sense of belonging, and decreased in feeling tired and lonely. We also saw, by measuring people's physiological states, that they slept better and their physical activity levels were higher. So if you want to sleep better, do some improv comedy. That's the moral of that story. So why improv for regulating the nervous system? We can use improv techniques, which we're going to practice here today, to put ourselves in situations that normally make us feel like we're getting chased by that tiger. And when we practice with improv, where the stakes are very low and the psychological safety is high, we get to put ourselves in that ventral vagal state so we can feel what it feels like to be in a situation like a difficult conversation or giving someone some feedback, or doing something that challenges us. We can do that in that ventral vagal state, in this fictionalized environment, so that when we go back to the real world, we've retrained our nervous system to feel safe in that normally tiger chasing scenario. Plus, it's fun. I think it's more fun than diving in a cold pool of water, but I know I'm in a place where that's perhaps more fun than it is for me. Anyone here taken an improv class? Awesome. I'm going to pick on you a little bit. You might demonstrate some things for me. Everyone here has improvised, whether you realize it or not. If you've ever had a conversation where you didn't know where it was going, you've improvised. You all lived through a global pandemic. You've improvised, right? We're always improvising. It's baked into our DNA. We're always adapting and changing. And so because of that, we can use the skills and techniques that people who train in improvisational performance to help them better navigate not knowing what's going to happen and being in the face of like, I don't know what's going to happen in this scene, to be in our lives where we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen in that conversation or what's going to happen the next week. So we can use that to kind of help us in life. So now we're going to do some improv techniques. Who's ready for it? All right, we'll get there. So for this, like I said, the part of our brain that's responsible for judgment is shown to decrease in activity when we improvise. So something we like to do at the top of this is to fire that judge, to kind of signal to our brain, hey, we don't need you to judge right now. We're trying to retrain some stuff. We're trying to grow our resilience. So I invite you all, you can close your eyes if you want. Picture that inner critic, the voice that sits in the back of your head or on your shoulder and is like, oh, don't do that, that's dumb. Someone might laugh at you, how embarrassing. And all together, on the count of 3, we're gonna fire that judge. So you can say whatever it is that you need to say to let go of judging the techniques we will practice, to let go of judging one another, and to let go of judging yourself. All right, on the count of 3, say whatever it is you need to say to fire that judge. You're fired, get out of here, you're no longer welcome, whatever it is for you. 1, 2, 3.
You're fired.
All right, how do we feel?
Yeah.
All right, we're still getting there. Great, well, we'll kind of ease into it. We'll do some more exercises as we get warmed up. I want to share the core 4 principles of improv that you can use to handle anything that comes your way. The first is saying yes and. This is the fundamental principle of improv. It means acknowledging the reality of the scene and then building on it. So if I'm in a scene and I'm like, I'm a rocket ship, and my scene partner's like, no, you're a doctor. That kills the scene. But if I'm like, I'm a rocket ship, and my scene partner's like, yeah, and your engine's about to explode. Now we're in the same scene. We can build from that. We can build something together. Now, saying yes and outside of improv is how we come up with new ideas and new possibilities, right? Because we can't create something new by saying no. We have to say yes, right? New ideas happen, new solutions happen when we say yes. And it's only when we acknowledge the reality of what's happening that we can move forward to solve a problem, right? If something's broken, we can't fix it until we acknowledge it's broken. So this principle is something we can use to address things when something's happening in our life or in work, right? The first step to handling anything is to acknowledge the anything that is happening. So what's your anything? What's something in your life or work that you need to handle, right? Maybe it's a conversation you haven't had yet that you need to have. Maybe it's a bug in the code. Maybe it's, you have to go grocery shopping, right? It can be whatever it needs to be. So, for example, dealing with negative thoughts. I think there's some stat that's like 90% of our thoughts on any given day are negative. So we have to work really hard to have positive thoughts about ourselves, about other people, about situations. Forbes shared this in an article about leadership. Another one could be there's a bug, right? I was told at another presentation that you can't have a slide deck at a tech conference without some code. So that could be in anything, right? There's some code in the software, and it looks like my little bug emoji did not show up, but there was a bug emoji, just because I don't actually know if there's a bug in this code. Or like a literal bug, right? There's a bug in your house or in your office, right? That's anything you'd have to handle. Or a long to-do list, right? We've all been there. So much to do. So one technique from the world of comedy to kind of handle those anythings is to brainstorm a list of 10 things to do because of it, right? You say yes, acknowledge that anything, acknowledge, oh, I have so much to do, and then just make a list of 10 things you can do in this moment to address that anything. Bless you. So take like 30 seconds to a minute and just brainstorm a list of 10 things you can do or not do to address your anything. You can just think them or write them down. There's no wrong answer. Whatever ideas come up, just like let them be, right? We fire the judge. So I'm going to stand up here awkwardly on stage for 30 seconds while you just like think about that. Just think about, reflect on something in your life that you need to handle, and just start to come up with ideas of how to address it. All right. I think it's funny because there's people coming in while everyone's just sitting here silently, and they're probably like, what is happening? What talk is this? Welcome. So the next principle that we can use to handle anything that comes our way is to take everything as a gift. Yesterday or the day before, I saw the Radical Candor talk, which was fabulous, and she talked about the acronym of feedback as a gift, right? When we look at things as gifts, we can better address them. It gets us in that, again, calm state of our nervous system so we can solve the problem. And a lot of great things and great companies have come from mistakes, or like not actually, there was something that happened that led it astray, or it wasn't the initial intention for it, and it led to some of these great companies. Or one of my favorite examples, Lego, right? I went to Lego House Tuesday and learned, some of the improvisational journey of that company, right? Did not start the way it is today. In fact, a totally different line of business of woodworking. So that's what happens when we take something like industry change, a fire in a building in the case of Lego, an economic, global economic situation that's changed. When we look at those as opportunities, we can actually pursue those opportunities and come away stronger. The third principle is to play the scene you're in. This is about being present with whatever that anything is. It's about being in that rocket scene, right? And paying attention and maybe asking for help or doing whatever you need to do to be in that scene and solve that anything. And finally, if it feels weird, do it, because we can't get new results by making the same choices, right? We have to make new choices to get new results. So, if you want to do something weird, like put ice cream on your face, who knows, you might discover the next best facial moisturizer. Leader adaptability is key amidst changing work environments and all the uncertainty in life. We have to be able to adapt. So let's practice adapting. Let's practice these principles. And this is where we're going to get the energy up a little bit, because I know it's early. This is an exercise called Crazy Eights. And so for this, all together, we are going to shake our right hand 8 times, our left hand 8 times, and then both hands 8 times, and then 7, 7, 7, 6, 6, 6, all the way down to 1. And together we'll yell Crazy Eights. It's going to go fast. It's going to be crazy. If you can't keep up, don't worry about it. And if you have any sort of injury, you can adapt. You can finger twirl, you can wave, you could do your legs instead. So I invite everyone to stand up for this. Get the blood moving. All right. You can count with me if you like. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. Crazy eights! Woo! All right. Anyone feel their heart rate increase a little bit? There we go. We got the energy up. When faced with anything, move your body to move your mind, right? Shake it out, let it out. That's one technique we can use. All right, we're gonna do another exercise. Superhero strength. So everyone think of a superhero strength that you have and a noise and emotion to accompany it. So for instance, I might be like, Magnetic Mary. All right? So on my count of 3, we're all going to share our superhero strength, noise, and motion together. Okay? Stand up again. I know we're so good at standing up and sitting down with all the lightning talk, standing ovations. All right? The count of 3, your superhero strength, your name, the noise, and motion. It does not have to be in alliteration. It does not have to start with the same letter as your name. You could be like a Smiley Mary, right? Or Jumping Kyle, whatever you want it to be. All right? 1, 2, 3. Magnetic. All right, all right, all right. When faced with an anything, remind yourself what you're capable of. Remind yourself of your strengths, right? Whether that's doing what we just did, making something light, reminding yourself of that strength you have, or keeping a folder on your phone or computer of nice things people say about you or compliments. And so when you get in that place where you're stuck with a challenge or you're about to face something hard or you are facing something hard, put in your mind all the things that you're really good at. All right, we're going to do another exercise. You can sit for this one. It's called pointing, and it's as simple as that. So this part 1 of this exercise, point at 10 objects in this space, and as you point at them, say out loud what they are. So I could point at this and say unicorn, window, chair, bag, table, right? You're gonna do this 10 times, and once you've done it 10 times, just be quiet and come back to the stage, okay? And then I'll go into part 2. You may begin.
Wall, window, Mary, screen, monitor, bag, speaker, wine, me, chair.
All right. Now we're going to do this again. This time, though, you're going to point at 10 objects and say what they aren't. So I might point at this and say frog, refrigerator, car, giraffe, right? So you're going to do this 10 times. Point at 10 objects, and when you point to them, say what they aren't. You may begin.
Slave. Banana. Shoe. Coffee. Frog.
That one's a little harder, right? Yeah, feels kind of like rubbing your belly and tapping your head at the same time. To handle anything, look at it in a new way, right? We need to see things differently before we can get different results. So even though that seemed quite silly, it's training your brain to look at a lamp and be able to see it in a different way, to look at a spoon and call it a fork, right? To look at a table and call it an elephant. It's not an elephant, right? But it's training the brain to break out of those ingrained patterns of beliefs and behaviors. the more you do that exercise, the easier it becomes. Just like the more we train ourselves to look differently at a situation, the easier it becomes. And we can solve more problems, we can do more things, the more we are able to look at things in a new way. All right. This one, you're gonna have to stand up for. So for this, I'm gonna ask you to find a partner, and you're going to have a conversation with your partner with a twist, okay? Your partner is going to use the last word that you say as their first word. For example, today I went outside to the park. Park in a car park so your car stays clean. Clean up your dishes after you eat. Eat Thai food, right? So that's what you're going to do with your partner. Now, there's a lot of us in here, so if you need to kind of spread out a little bit, that's fine. Do this each so that you each get to do this, like have 3 times to talk, okay? So once you've each said 3 things, you can sit back down, okay? You may begin.
Better to be inside when it's raining. Is it supposed to rhyme?
No.
We rhymed all of us.
No, you. Oh, that's talent.
Prepared for anything or prepared for nothing? Changing world, changing life. Because deep.
How many people felt a little bit like Yoda? Yeah. Anyone have an observation about that? Yeah.
Well, I was trying to be really kind about how I ended it, but it didn't work very favorably ever.
Who else was thinking about what word they left their partner with? Yeah. Setting your partner up for success so that you leave them with a word that's conducive, easier to start a sentence with, right? How many people are trying to trick their partner? Okay, yeah, there's always a couple. How many folks realized how often they start to think about what they're going to say next while someone else is still talking? Yeah, we all kind of do, right? This exercise forces us to listen and really listen, right? That's how we get those gifts of information from people, right? To listen to what they're saying, fully what they're saying, and not just waiting for our turn to talk. And part of this is building trust with ourselves that whatever that last word is, we'll figure it out, right? We can't always predict what the last word is going to be. We can't always predict what happens in our lives, in our work, in the global economy, but we can trust ourselves that whatever it is, we'll be able to deal with it, right? So that's this exercise. And it also is one where the more you do it, the easier it gets. The more comfortable we start to get with just, oh, I know, whatever word, even if it's a of or bike or a word that's really hard to start a sentence with, we'll figure it out. All right, we're going to do another exercise. Welcome to the people just joining. You can stay standing if you'd like, because I'm going to invite everyone to stand again and find another partner, a new person. And this time we're going to do an exercise called Fortunately, Unfortunately. So you're going to think of a challenge and anything you're wanting to handle or something else unfortunate. You can make this up or it can be real to you in your life. And with your partner, one of you starts by saying, unfortunately. Like, unfortunately, I ran out of currency, local currency. And then you're going to follow it with a statement that starts with fortunately. So I might say, fortunately, there's an ATM a block away. Unfortunately, I didn't bring my debit card to Denmark. Fortunately, I think I can use my credit card. Unfortunately, I forgot that too, right? So one person is going to go through this 6 times, alternating 6 times. So you'll start unfortunately, fortunately, unfortunately, fortunately, unfortunately, fortunately. So you end on a fortunately statement, and then you'll switch, and your partner will get to do unfortunately, fortunately, unfortunately, fortunately, unfortunately, fortunately. Okay? And you can start with something that's real or imagined. You may begin.
My daughter really likes logging. Unfortunately, playing. Fortunately, I did manage to get some stickers. Unfortunately, she's going to put them all over clothes and arms. Fortunately, they come in the back. That was
I do have the money to buy those. That means I still have to spend a lot of time on these. Fortunately, though, I have 2 weeks I can eat one.
nice.
That's hot.
Except that feels like that's what actually happens. I found the bug. Can't fix the bug. Fix the bug. It made it not bug.
Fortunately, though, I come to it.
Unfortunately, that broke something else. Fortunately, I can fix this with an upgrade. Unfortunately, that hits a dependency further down the tree. That's a great thing.
Once you've finished, you can sit down. Who feels better about their unfortunate situation? Yeah, pretty cool how quickly that can shift, right? Can go from being like down in the dumps about something to, oh, okay, there's something to this. So when faced with an unfortunate anything, consider the fortunate aspects, right? Go back and forth, right? Give your mind the opportunity to see that it's not all bad, right? That's how we can help find those gifts and start to see things in new ways, that new perspective. Because if we're just looking at something this way, we're missing how we could see it from different angles, which can be really hard to do when we're getting chased by that tiger. But if we take that moment to do something like this or a different technique, we can get to that elephant. Okay. No. This is called Let It Go, Bring It In. You can sit or stand for this one. It's going to be very individualized in terms of what you need. And I'm going to invite you to consider a belief, a state of being, an emotion that you want to let go of. Okay, so this could be anger, it could be insecurity, it could be anxiety, worry, fear, something that maybe is holding you back from handling in anything or accomplishing a goal or doing something. And I'm going to give like a minute to just kind of be with that a little bit. And then on my count of 3, together, we'll all express that emotion, belief, or state of being to a heightened level, right? So if on the scale of 1 to 10, 1 is like, I'm angry, 10 is like, I'm angry, you know, and kind of that's the range, right? So you really want to let it out. It won't be for long, right? It will be like 15 seconds of letting it out, okay? And then we'll stop and kind of come back to yourself. So just take a minute now. I'm going to stand up here awkwardly on stage again, silently, while you consider something that's maybe holding you back. A belief, that state of being, the feeling, a mindset, okay? And then we'll come back and we'll let it go. Okay, I'm going to add one more little thing to imagine here before we let it go, and that is to consider how that makes you show up physically, like in your body, right? If you're angry, do you feel tense? If you're scared, is it like your shoulders are up? If you're sad about something or you're insecure, do you feel kind of closed off? Because not only are you expressing this verbally, you want to feel it physically as much as you can. All right? I know it's going to feel strange, right? Remember our 4th principle, if it feels weird, do it. But just take a moment, and I'll keep talking to it during this so that it's not as awkward as the silence can be, where just kind of, think about, imagine yourself in that situation or feeling that belief and how that makes you show up, right? If I'm worried or scared, I'm probably a little bit like this, right? If I'm upset, I might be kind of closed off, right? If I'm upset at someone or something, I may be kind of shut down. Start to, whether you're seated or you want to stand up, start to physically embody that. Not at a 10, just at that 1. And we're going to gradually get there because it will be, I think, a little bit more inviting. So kind of start at that 1, start to feel this thing that you want to let go of. And then let's bring it to a 2. Feel it a little bit more. Let's bring it to a 4 or a 5. So you're halfway to that 10. If you're feeling angry, you want to start to kind of see that, however you express anger, or if it's fear. And let's bring it to a 7. And now that we're at the 7, you're starting to feel it physically. I want you to think about what this version of you might say, right? I'm angry, or leave me alone, or I can't do this, I'm not good enough. Start to think about just a quick line this version of you might say. Because when we bring it to a 10, you're going to express it physically and also shout that out or say it however you need to say it to let it out when we're at that 10. Okay, so let's turn it up to a 9. You're really starting to feel it. Go ahead and say the thing that this version of you might say at that 9. It's kind of intense. Say it out loud. 1, 2, 3. Everyone has nothing to say. What does this version of you that's angry, insecure, doesn't believe in yourself, scared? You can literally say, I'm scared. If you're scared of this exercise too, that's okay.
I'm scared.
Yeah. All right, we're going to try it at the 10. Okay. Ready? At a 10, we're just going to let it out. Whatever it is, you can feel it physically, you can get up, you can say something, whatever you need to do to let go of whatever the thing is, the belief, the mindset, the feeling that is holding you back from solving anything. 1, 2, 3.
I don't want to have this conversation.
Awesome. Go ahead and shake that out a little bit. That's like some intense to feel. This part's a little bit lighter, because now you get to consider something that you want more of, right? You just let go of the thing that you want less of, so now you have some space for something else. So consider a belief, a state of being, an emotion that you want more of. Confidence, excitement, belief in myself. And you're gonna let yourself feel that and experience it. And physically notice how that feels and how you breathe differently, how you show up, how it feels in your shoulders. Maybe you're less tense. And then you're going to consider what you might say in this state, like, I can do this, or I'm capable. And then we're going to kind of go through this process again. This time, I'm going to invite everyone to stand up for this one. And I'm going to invite you to walk around the room a little bit. And I'm going to kind of facilitate this as you walk around the room. Now, there's chairs and there's things in the way, so if you just, do what you can without running into people or knocking things over. And I'm going to encourage you to think about yourself on, like, your best day. Like, when you're just like, oh, I'm my best self, I'm feeling all the things I want, I'm feeling confident, I'm feeling secure, I'm feeling excited, whatever it is that you want more of. Maybe you imagine a time that you were this way, and you can recall a memory where you felt like this. Yeah, I just saw someone give someone a high five. Like, greet each other, not too loudly and not too long, but just like as you pass someone, greet them how you would when you're in this state of being, right? When you have more of this thing that you want more of. Notice how you walk. Are you looking up? Are you making eye contact? Are you smiling? Are you breathing fast? Are you breathing slow? And now go ahead and pause. And now you're kind of in this state, right? You've been able to feel it for yourself, interact with others, and now consider what this version of you might say to yourself or just out in the world, right? You're like, I can do this, I got this, or I'm capable, I'm worthy of this, whatever this version of you might say. And on the count of 3, we're all going to say that thing repeatedly and kind of get it from that 1 to a 10, right? So you might start being like, I got this, I got this, I got this, and make it bigger and bigger and bigger, okay? So go ahead and start by, on the count of 3, just say it once. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, now everyone kind of do what's your name, sir? Anders. That was perfect, right? Started and made it bigger and bigger. So now I'm going to give you free rein. Do that. Start somewhere and make it bigger and bigger. Feel how good this feels, right? Say that phrase over and over again to kind of feel it, okay? 1, 2, 3. All right. How do you feel?
Good.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, you can all sit down. What was that experience like for you? Uncomfortable? Great. Emotional? Yeah. Anyone notice a shift going from that first state to the second one? Do you feel differently now than you did when we were channeling the thing we wanted to let go of? Less tense? Anyone else less tense? Lighter? Yeah. That's stuff sticks with us, right? Letting it out frees us of that in some sense. And we don't always have to let it out to the thing that caused the anger or the insecurity or whatever, whether it's someone at work or in your life and you're angry about something. Do something to let it out. Punch a wall. Don't punch a wall, that could be dangerous. Punch the air, right? Scream into a pillow, because it will otherwise just maybe get buried down. But at some point, someone takes our stapler from our desk and we have a meltdown, right? And it's like, what? I just wanted to borrow your stapler. It's like, it's not about the stapler, right? It's about the thing that happened 6 months ago that I haven't addressed, right? So, and then of course, there's those feelings of insecurity, right? Can we let go of those? Because sometimes we're our own biggest barrier to change. I can't do this. This is too hard. I'm overwhelmed. It's okay to have those feelings, right? We all feel insecure. We all, have times where we're like, oh, I'm overwhelmed, or I don't think I can do this. But if we don't actually acknowledge that, it's hard to move to that new state, right? Of like, oh, I got this. That's kind of this yes and principle in practice. I do feel kind of crappy, or I do feel kind of insecure. Great, acknowledge it, let it out, so that you can say and bring in a new trait and kind of channel those superhero strengths. Like, I can do this. I can do hard things. I can handle change. Because you all are incredibly capable of changing, growing, and improvising. Right? Now, if I asked how many of you have improvised, will you all raise your hands? Yeah. You all have, and you all can continue to. So when you let go of what's no longer serving you, there's that space for what you actually want and need to solve the anything. So we did it. Woo! High five your neighbor. We learned and practiced techniques that you can use to handle anything that comes your way. We discovered new ways of creatively solving problems and innovating. And I can share with you some ways to empower your team's adaptability, creativity, and trust as well. So for that first one, yes and, right? Let it go, bring it in. Pointing, you're playing the scene you're in. You're making new choices with fortunately and unfortunately, looking at things in a new way. When you want to discover new ways of creatively solving problems and innovating with new ideas, you have to deal with anything, make a list of 10. Do the pointing part 2, right? When you look at a lamp and call it a refrigerator. And try the fortunately, unfortunately exercise. Because you can do these on your own, right? All of these exercises, except for the partner one with first word, last word, which you can do with a stranger, with your grocery store clerk. It's really fun to do if you don't tell them what's happening, because you can see how long it takes to catch on. It's really fun. And you can do these with your team, right? All of these, and you have now the presentation, you've gotten to experience them. These are things that you can start to share with your team to help them adapt to change and be a leader by example of getting yourself as that elephant, right? Because if you're being chased by a tiger, that affects other people as well. It takes someone to be like, okay, We got this. Like, here's a way we can start to look at this. Like, this is an unfortunate situation that our biggest customer is very upset about this thing that didn't go well. But let's start to see, like, what can come of this? What can we do of this, right? And handle it as an elephant and not someone being chased by a tiger. And I also help companies with this stuff. So if you want to talk with me afterwards, or there's something going on with your own leadership or your team, I'm happy to brainstorm some ideas. I've got like hundreds more of these techniques that I could share that are very like little things, little reframes. And so happy to do that. And if you want, you can schedule time with me to chat about it. And if your team's local in Copenhagen, I'm staying an extra day Monday, so we should chat and can come do something with your team. How many here would like to keep improving, keep trying improv to help you adapt in life? This is awesome. I love it. Almost everyone's hands are up. And if you're not, that's okay too. Well, great. I want to take a group photo, and then I'm going to share with you some ways that you can keep improving after this, some cool freebies that you can have for your team. But I always love to take a selfie when I do these things because it's always so, we connected today, right? We did some hard things. We went on a journey together. So I'm going to invite everyone to stand up again because we love standing. And I'm going to take a selfie. Who wants to hold the unicorn? Yes. Okay. All right, on 3, do your superhero, all right? 1, 2, 3. Woo! All right. I'll post it in the Codegarden app for everyone. If you want to learn more about this, I gave a TED Talk on this subject. You can watch that there. And I have this 10 days, 10 minutes per less per day for a creativity boost. I'll send to anyone for free. It's like a potent little way to start your day or have a midday kind of boost of, oh, how do I look at this in a creative way, and gets your mind in this place we got to go today. All I ask is that you share some feedback about this. I love hearing what people gain from this that you'll actually use and apply in your work, or how you start to apply it. So there's the obligatory QR code if you want to scan that, and it will have a little form and ways to like get the creativity boost, connect on LinkedIn, or if you want to chat more about your team and brainstorm some ideas. I share these techniques every week on a Substack with some improvisations that you can use to handle anything from anxiety to distractions at work to jet lag, which many of us may face in the next week. And yeah, I'll stick around for questions, or if you want to do some more improv, we can. I could do this for days, and now perhaps you'll want to do more of it too. But thank you so much for being here, for saying yes and for trying something new and making some weird choices.